Right,
So,
yeah.
hand over to Andy to...
Thanks a lot, Stephen. Yeah, so as I say, I'm the Scrum Master, registered in Scotland. Lisa Atkins, who was on one of the slides that Laz did, she wrote the book about Agile coaching called Coaching Agile Teams. And she says that any Scrum Master should be able to talk passionately about Scrum for at least 10 minutes and draw. So I'm going to take the Pepsi challenge today. And, so you're all guinea pigs, and I'm going to see if I can if I can do that. A bit of local context for you. I was walking along the Royal Mile the other night, and I walked past this fish and chip shop, and they had deep fried Cadbury's cream eggs, and I thought, wow, that's quite interesting. And then I thought, really, like, my talk's going to be not just a kind of yoke, which is going to be like core Scrum. It's also the goodness of like the sort of tools and techniques that you might use alongside Scrum as the kind of outer deep fat shell. And you know, so it's win-win, yeah. So basically, yeah. And I really apologise about this column. I'll try and kind of keep away from it. So Scrum. I spelt it right, so that's a good start. Yeah. And basically, you know, it's a framework. We say it's a framework. It's not a methodology. It's not prescriptive. And I think, as Laz mentioned, it's kind of like a 10-page like Word document that you can. 17. Oh, sorry,
including the title page.
Yeah, including the title page and the references. Yeah. So you know, it's quite a small document. So and people say, you know, it's easy to understand. It's easy to learn, but it's hard to do. And I was also reading that apparently it's 21 years old this year. So it's quite an old. Yeah, same age as me, yeah. So, in hex. Yeah, right, so, yeah, so basically, right, so Scrum. In an organisation hopefully has a vision, and then what they do is they kind of assign some money to deliver that vision. So, put it in euros because I'm thinking about the future, you know. And there are three roles in a Scrum team, you know, in pure Scrum. There's a product owner. I'll just put PO. There's a Scrum Master, so you have to stay in employment, and then you have team members. And we say, I think the latest saying is, you know, it's 3 to 9 people in the Scrum team. That's the optimum size. You know, your mileage may vary. And really, the product owner, I think, is really the core role in Scrum. That's what makes it all tick. And the product owner is responsible for the product backlog. And the product backlog is just a list of requirements, effectively, that are in priority order, the business priorities. And often they're expressed as kind of user stories, which you might have heard of, where the user story is, you know, you're a role, you want some value, and you know, you're a particular role, you want something, and the reason why you want that is the value. And we also have like BDD, which is like given that I'm a particular state, when I do something, then I want something else. And I think that's probably, you know, something we could do another night. We could do kind of product ownership and BDD and user stories and things. So anyway, you've got that product backlog. And the saying about product backlogs is that if it's in the product backlog, it might not get done. If it's not in the product backlog, it definitely won't get done. You've also got, in an organisation, again, this is not really part of Scrum, you've got all kinds of stakeholders. And these have all got requirements. They could be customers, users, or they could be managers, you know, senior managers. And they've all got requirements. And it's really the product owner's job to liaise with these folks and get all their requirements into the product backlog. That's really the job. But a good product owner also kind of acts as a heat shield and protects the team from all these people, because there's nothing worse than if you're a Scrum Master when people come to the team and assign them tasks to do and you don't know about it. So obviously you want it all to come through the product owner and go in the product backlog. So, yeah. And then from the product backlog, you have a sprint planning meeting. So Scrum has roles, ceremonies, and artifacts. We'll go through those. So one of the ceremonies is the product backlog. Sorry, a sprint planning meeting. And in a sprint planning meeting, hopefully you can still see, you basically have a bucket. And
ice cream.
Is it an ice cream? It's a bucket. I'll put a little hole in it. There you go. It's a bucket. And that's your capacity, that's your team's capacity. And the way you get that is kind of metrics from previous work that you've done. So you know that I'll go back to that one, I'll come back to that one. But basically, you have a capacity, and what the team do is they pull stories from that product backlog based on their capacity. So they pull like the highest priority items that they feel that they can do into that bucket until it's full. And kind of one of the anti-patterns you might see is a product owner saying, you know, I'm going to push all this work to you because that's the work that I want you to do in the next iteration, which we'll come to. And really what you're trying to do is you want the teams to say, no, this is our capacity and this is the work that we can do. So it's a pull condition rather than a push condition, and that's really important. So once you've done that sprint planning meeting and you've got your bucket full of stories to do that are from this product backlog, you basically do what we call a sprint. And a sprint is just a time-boxed amount of time where you're going to achieve the objectives that you've kind of set here in your sprint backlog. And the book says 2 to 4 weeks is the optimum. And I think, originally it was a lot longer, but we kind of, I think most people would do it in 2 weeks these days. And then every 24 hours, we have a stand-up or a daily scrum. See the expression you might hear. I spelled it wrong there. And that's where you really you ask 3 questions. It's what did I do yesterday? What did I achieve yesterday? What am I going to achieve today? And what's blocking me? That's a daily stand-up. And then at the end of your sprint, the idea is that you get a potentially shippable product increment. What does that mean? It's a small piece of what you're trying to achieve in the whole of the product backlog that you've achieved at the end of those, usually say 2 weeks. And that's what we call done. So we have a definition of done there. Usually, again, that's not part of Scrum, but it's kind of a generally agreed practice that most Scrum teams do. The definition of done might be, we've coded it, we've done all the unit tests, it's been UAT'd, whatever else has been checked into, whatever code repository we're using. So it's really a done piece of code, and it's potentially shippable. You could push that out to customers if you really wanted to. Often you don't, often you might want to roll it up into a kind of release, but that's potentially shippable. Product increment. And then you have, lost my train of thought. So one of the outcomes, so one of the other ceremonies is you have a sprint review. Sometimes known as a show and tell, and that's where you show your customers what you've actually achieved in that sprint, and that can often drive more requirements that go back into your product backlog. So that's the second of the ceremonies. Then the third ceremony is a retrospective. And this is your kind of inspect part of your plan, do, check cycle. And this is where you look back on the last sprint and the team like reflects on what went well, what didn't go so well, and what they're going to do in their next sprint to kind of improve things. And again, that can kind of add to the product backlog. And what I forgot to mention was definition of ready as well. That's another sort of technique that we use, where you only pull stories from the product backlog into the sprint backlog when they've hit what your definition of ready, and that could be, it's been estimated, it's got acceptance criteria, it's got all VDD, the VDD requirements on there, and it's ready to go. And the team can reject anything that's not ready to go. So really, that's it in a nutshell. So it's it's a framework. You're free to add as you see fit, add tools and techniques as you see fit. It's got 3 ceremonies, which are sprint planning, sprint review, and retrospective. It has a team which consists of 3 different types of people. The product owner, which I would argue is the most important part of it, because they protect the team from the organisation effectively and prioritise the stories. The Scrum Master, who I've not mentioned, because we have to get paid somehow, and the Scrum Master is is known as a servant leader. So you're there to help to make sure that all the ceremonies happen, and to remove any of the blockers that might get reported in the daily stand-up. Where the team hits the organisation is often a problem. Deployments and getting people log-ons and that kind of thing. And then the third role on Scrum is the team member, and kind of pure Scrum just says that team members should be like T-shaped people, and that means that you can do more than one role. So like a business analyst may also be like a proxy product owner. I can also do some testing, but your mileage might vary here as well, because you often see that a business analyst or developer, that kind of specialist skills, which is where kind of book varies away from reality. So I think that's about it. So any questions?